I walked into my room and something was amiss. The game was sitting there, waiting. In many ways it'd always been there, at the back of my mind, waiting for its time. Like an unspoken voice waiting to be heard, and unlike others, I was gonna let it say its piece.
Oh. Hi. I'm Nitro, or Alex for short, and welcome to my festival review. I've been sitting on this idea of doing reviews for quite some time, but there's always been things holding me back. Until now, so what game am I going to cover for my festival review? Well, it's a game from my past that got me into playing games in the first place. And that game is Max Payne, the PS2 version to be exact. And I know this version isn't the best version to play, but it's the version I played then, and it's the version I have now, so yeah. I remember feeling pretty mixed with this game the first time I played it, but that's about all I can really remember. So I'm going in mostly blind.
But what really can be said about Max Payne as a franchise? Well, he wasn't Rockstar's Golden Goose, but that's not to say he was completely obscure either. I mean, the first game sold well, coming out on PC, then Xbox and PlayStation, had a good reception from critics, even won some awards, which is even shown on the front of the box. Best PC game of 2001. It popularised the use of bullet time as a gameplay mechanic, and took inspiration from Hong Kong action films like Hard Boiled and A Better Tomorrow.
But I'm not here to talk about that today. What I am here to do is answer one question. Is it any good? Let's find out.
So the game opens with a cutscene of the Acer Plaza, the final area of the game. Police are storming the building, and as the camera pans up to the top of the tower, we get a first look at our main character.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this brings me to my first point. The character models in this game haven't aged that well. It reminds me of the facial capture used in Forbidden Siren, but way more primitive. Except Forbidden Siren is meant to look scary. This just looks really, really funny.
Damn, that's another one I'm going to have to cover at some point.
The reason why the models look so outdated is because the devs didn't have much of a budget, so they decided to use photo textures as a cheaper method. You can read more about this in the statement from 3D Realms I linked below. Anyway, the game starts and people are broken into Max's house and are holding his wife and baby hostage. In an effort to save them, they're killed. The people that broke in are addicts, addicted to the designer drug V, Valkyrie. This event changed Max's life forever, and since then he's transferred to the DEA and done everything in his power to take the drug out of circulation and find out who killed his family and why. Max has also gone undercover in the Punchinello crime family, led by Angela Punchinello, who are connected to the drug circulation. We're told by Bibi, who will come back into the story later, that we have to meet our partner Axe Boulder at an underground train station. All of a sudden the place is crawling with gangsters, and this is where the game introduces its two main gameplay mechanics, diving and bullet time. Pressing L1 allows you to dive around corners and dodge bullets, and pressing L2 makes you go into bullet time, which is basically slow-mo. You can use these in conjunction with each other to dispatch enemies quickly and efficiently. It's so satisfying to leap around a corner in slow-mo, or taking out a group of baddies without taking a single hit. You feel unstoppable, like a badass. Also, unlike other shooters of the time, you have to fire a little bit early before your crosshairs reach your target, sort of like Space Invaders. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention the health power-up in this game. The Painkiller. It works as any other health power-up would. You can find them in medicine cabinets, on dead bodies, in later levels, or just laying around.
Pills would hold the pain back for a while.
I just find it amusing that you can get flipping shredded by machine guns and just pop some pills and everything being fine.
We eventually meet up with Alex, who gets murdered by an unknown assailant, which of course makes us look like the guilty one.
We gotta get out of here. If it's Lupino, it's... Alex? Alex! Lupino thought he could get us by taking Alex out and leaving me to take the fall for it. All he had gotten was my attention.
The next area, the Lupino Hotel, is also great. We blow our cover with the Punchinellos by taking out the Finito brothers, so both the police and the mob either want Max dead or in jail. In this level, we have to go through rundown hotel rooms and hallways. There's even a Buffy the Vampire Slayer Easter egg.
It was not a pretty sight.
Which brings me to my next point. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this game. From Zero Wing to Commander Keen. If you want to see these and more, check out the video link below. It's very interesting. Anyway, the hotel gets blown up by the Punchlow's rival, the Russian, who will come back into the story later. Anyway, on to the next area, the apartment complex, known by Jack Lupino. We have to hunt down and interrogate Vinny Godnissi. This area is great too. We even go through a dry cleaners while chasing down Vinny over roofs and through apartments. While chasing Vinny, we get a call from Alfred Woden, who informs us that the police are zeroing in on our building. Then he hangs up. That's not the last we'll see of him. Anyway, the area ends up with a standoff, in arguably one of the best parts of the game.
Except for one part.
In an effort to escape, Vinny jumps off a building onto a moving train and rides off. You have to do the same, except you can barely make the jump the game expects you to make, so you're probably gonna fall off and die. A lot! Anyway, after that, we interrogate Vinny, who points us in the direction of the Ragnarok Club, so there we go.
I'd hate to sound like a broken record, but this is another great level too.
We go through the dance floor, bar, and even backstage, all while shit rave music plays.
Throughout the game, Jack is built up to be this crazy cultist, and while going up the stairs to fight him at the end of Chapter 1, he screams about making blood sacrifices to Cthulhu and other gods. It's actually quite unnerving.
Jack's gone voodoo. Just the other night, he shot Dino because he wanted to see what his brains looked like splattered on the wall. He's a freaking mad dog. We're running out of men and business fast.
Gognitti had been living in mortal fear of his boss. Jack Lupino was a psycho.
The flesh of fallen angels! Come to me all! Astaroth, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Baphomet, Lucifer, Loki, Satan, Cthulhu, Lilith, Ella! Blood to you all! Secret, living under the skin of reality. I've seen it. The corruption of flesh. Ow! I'm the wolf, yeah! I am the wolf! It's close. It's coming.
After taking down an onslaught of goons, we take on Jack, who isn't that hard, just shoot till he's dead. After we beat him, we meet Mona Sachs, a professional assassin and twin sister of Lisa Sachs, the wife of Angelo Punchinello. She tells us that Angelo is responsible for the killing of Alex and his family. She then pulls a Bill Cosby and spikes Max's drink, ending off Chapter 1.
And from this point is where my problems with the game start to become apparent.
We're sent into the first dream sequence of the game, and we have to go through a maze with the lovely sounds of a baby crying and our wife screaming, which totally doesn't get annoying after a while. And in said maze, everything looks the same, so you don't know if you're backtracking or not. And trust me, you probably are. And when you finally get to the other side, what do you get? Why, another maze, of course! This time with razor-thin platforms and platforming. Did I mention razor-thin platforms? And if you fall in once, you have to do it all over again. When we get to the end, we actually get to read our wife's diary. She's been getting strange letters at our workplace relating to Norse mythology. She works at Acer Corp, which will come back into the story later, wink wink nudge nudge. After all that, we wake up to see our weapons been taken away by Frankie Niagara, another member of the Punchinello crime family. After using Max's head as a baseball for a bit, he leaves. And we break out. We're forced to use this dinky little bag to take out enemies, which goes about as well as you'd expect. So I restart and what the hell, I can't skip this cutscene? I can skip the comic book but not the actual cutscene? Anyway, after flipping murdering everyone in the building, we meet up with the Russian, Vladimir Len, who offers to stock us up on weapons if we take down Boris Dime, a trader and arms dealer working for the Punchinello family. And so we go off to the docks. We go through the ship bay, then through the various warehouses, and finally onto the Boris's boat. I think this is another contender for best part of the game. It's got a great atmosphere, it's quite challenging at points, but not to the point where you want to kill someone. The bit where you clear Dime's boat is pretty fun, and finally taking Dime out is so badass. This is also where we get the most useful and powerful weapon in the game, the Colt Commando. It's basically an assault rifle, but 10 times cooler.
Trust me, when you get to the later levels, you're going to be using this constantly if you want to stay alive.
We call Angelo, who tells us to meet him at his restaurant,
which, shocker, is a trap.
and he burns it down in an effort to kill Max. This level is okay, I just wish it lasted longer. Anyway, we meet Vlad, who drops us off at Punchinello Manor, where we have to take out the trio, Punchinello's right-hand men, while walking up to the top dog himself. At the beginning of this level, we find out that Mona was here before us, and throughout the game, it feels like we're always one step behind her, following in her tracks. We find the dead body of Punchinello's wife. Did Angelo kill her?
I don't know.
Seeing her lying there got me thinking about another woman's body on another bed. Got me thinking about a fallen cradle.
When we make it up to Angelo, it turns out he's a penny pushover, and there's someone else pulling the strings.
The moment I stepped into the room, he folded like a deuce before a royal flush.
No, wait. I was just doing what I was told. I couldn't refuse. She's someone high up. Government, maybe. I don't know.
He was trying to buy more sand for his hourglass. I wasn't selling any.
But then a bunch of blonde Agent Smiths burst in, don't believe me, just look, and kill Angelo and hold us at gunpoint. This is where we're introduced to the person behind V, the owner of Acer Corp, Nicole Horn. She gives us a dose of V and we pass out.
The witch had got me just as sure as if she put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger.
Yeah, quick question. What's stopping Horn from killing Max? She's literally got him on his knees, and he's proved himself to be a force to be reckoned with, and knowing that she is responsible for the killing of Max's family, will most likely go after her. Which, shocker, he does. I think I just pointed out the biggest plot hole in this entire series.
Yeah, anyway, we're sent to the second dream sequence of the game, and this is where the biggest plot twist is revealed. In fact, I'm going to put spoiler notice here. If you want to experience it for yourself, then skip here. 3, 2, 1. So the game breaks the fourth wall and Max realizes he's in a video game.
There was something disturbingly familiar about the letter before me. The handwriting was all pretty curves.
You're in a computer game, Max.
The truth was a burning green crack through my brain, weapon statistics hanging in the air, glimpsed out of the corner of my eye, endless repetition of the act of shooting, time slowing down to show off my moves, the paranoid feel of someone controlling my every step. I was in a computer game. Funny as hell, it was the most horrible thing I could think of.
The first time I played this, it was the most mind-blowing and amazing thing I'd ever seen in a game. Hell, media in general. And I've never seen anything like it before or since.
After that revelation, Valkyr, the drug, calls us and tells us to snap out of it.
Don't lose it. It's Valkyr. The drug. Snap out of it. Try to remember. It was a bad line in a prank call. Someone spouting insane babble. I couldn't make sense of it. But I had an overwhelming sense of deja vu, and the caller's voice sounded oddly familiar.
Which is quite strange. But anyway, after that we have to... Oh, for fuck's sake. More bloody maze sections? Are you kidding me? Who thought this was a good idea? These aren't fun, it's just a fucking chore. This is a black hole of fun which sucks out any potential anything this section could have had.
And guess what? This time, it's even fucking worse.
With more goddamn branching paths that lead to nowhere, with more awkward bloody platforming on razor-thin bloody platforms. Fuck this! When we finally get to the other end of that disaster, we get to gun down our wife and pass off. We wake up in a puddle of our own sweat and vomit. Horn mentioned a place called Cold Steel before we passed out, so there we go.
It was a clue. The only one I had.
Cold Steel is where V is mainly distributed. It is guarded by special ops soldiers, and trust me, these guys don't mess around.
This part of the game is... okay.
It has some fun parts, but it also has some extremely bullshit parts as well. This is also part of the game where enemies start to use cold commandos and grenades, and said grenades are broken. They sometimes hurt you even if you're far away, it sucks. We fight our way through the armed guards and more blonde Agent Smiths to the underground laboratory, where the drug is being made. And we find out that V, formerly known as Project Valhalla, was originally to be used in the army to increase morale and stamina, but the project was cancelled due to the psychological effects on those who took it. Anyway, the section ends off with the building being set to blow and us having barely any time to get out. Things are being blown up all over as we desperately try to escape, which ends off with Max being stuck in a decontamination chamber, with literal seconds to go.
27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18,
shit, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Commit.
Come on, please, I'm almost down. Come on. Final seconds, go on, I've got to do this. Oh god, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Oh no. So all our potential leads are gone, so we lay low for a while, until we're contacted by BB, our other friend who sent us into the train station at the start of the game. He tells us to meet him at the parking garage.
Okay, is it just me, or does this sound like a trap?
Shocker, it is! And it turns out he sold us out and got Alex killed.
The garage was dead. BB showed up in his tailor-made suit, gold watch, and cufflinks to match. All way beyond a cop's pay.
Maxie.
Oozing suave charm, he was guilty as hell. BB turned out to be another cardboard cutout bad guy.
Don't you just hate it when that happens?
The way Max says that never ceases to make me smile. This is another contender for best area in the game. The place is crawling with hired gunmen with itchy trigger fingers.
There's nothing else I can really say that I haven't said before. It's really, really solid.
Reports of a fire at the Punchinello Manor in Westchester. The manor is the home of Angelo Punchinello, the alleged head of the Punchinello crime family. The police are now saying, contrary to their earlier statements, that Max Payne is still alive and at large. He continues his vendetta against the Mafia, of which this last act of arson is attributed to.
I had no recollection of setting any fires, but I did remember the flames.
So after we take down BB, we're called by Alfred Woden. He says to meet him at the Asgard building.
I just realized this game makes a lot of references to Norse mythology. The Acer Corporation, the Asgard building.
Hell, at the end of part 1, Jack mentions Loki and Thor and his flippin' blood sacrifice.
Astaroth, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Baphomet, Lucifer, Loki, Satan, Cthulhu.
There's probably even more that I'm not even thinking of at the moment as well.
Anyway, Woden is a part of the Inner Circle, a secret society with influence over the government and organised crime. They were involved with Project Valhalla before it was cancelled. Woden tells us that if we take down Horn, then all the charges will be dropped against us. Then, more killer suits burst in and open fire on everyone in the room, including Horn.
It was an impressive floor show, but I decided to leave early anyway. It was only a one-story fall.
One of the highlights of this area, in fact the entire game, was when I was going through a room of office cubicles, and armed operatives were hiding behind cubicle walls. It puts you on edge because you don't know where they can pop out.
And what is your answer to those saying that he's actually providing a service long overdue to the city?
This crusade nonsense has gone too far. He's out of control. It must stop. He will be stopped.
That was Deputy Chief Jim Rivera from the New York City Police Department.
Earlier in the level, we go through an operations room, and we see on one of the cameras that Woden is still alive.
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I didn't know how he'd pulled it off, but it was a pretty slick way to get out of all his promises. Most of what he had said fit too well to be a load of crap.
So we make it down to the bomb floor, and we have to fight an onslaught of bomb suits. Just like that, it hit me, like a point-blank shot to the chest. I remembered why it felt so mixed the first time I played this game, but like a coward, I didn't want to miss it. I just put it down to me sucking back then. Now it'd be different, right? When you're in denial, you tend to spout a lot of crap.
Colder than a walk-in fridge. Cold as a gun.
And so begins the final area, and already I have some things to complain about. So you have to run down a long hallway to a door. One problem, there's 2 goons with grenade launchers.
Why is this a problem, I hear you ask? Oh, nothing major. Just the grenade launcher is the most broken weapon in the fucking game.
Like grenades, grenade launchers have extremely broken hitboxes. Except this time they explode on impact. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the 2 goons are fucking marksmen, so you're gonna die. A lot. Oh, I forgot to mention, every time you reload the game, you have to sit through a loading screen. Then, an in-game cutscene. An unskippable in-game cutscene. Every single time. In fact, I timed it. It takes around 42 seconds from the start of the loading screen to when you're back in control of max. It still feels like a fucking eternity though.
I tried using the sniper rifle to take out the enemies one by one, but I can't because the sniper rifle fucking sucks.
When in scope mode, the reticule is so sensitive that if you so much as move the stick an inch, it'll fly across the screen. Also, the frame rate drops, making it even more finicky and awkward, so good luck trying to kill anything before it kills you, knobhead. And as if that wasn't enough, once you get to the door, 2 more guys wielding machine guns come out and open fire.
I barely made it to that doorway by the skin of my teeth, and I don't feel like I got there with skill, just blind luck. And I swear to God, if I have to hear colder than a walk-in fridge, cold as a gun one more bloody time, I swear to God I will.
Well, at least after that the rest of this chapter gets better, until we reach the next chapter. It starts with a timed tripwire section. It's not bad, if you don't suck. What makes this section really terrible is, in the middle of trying to make chime jumps, some mug comes out of nowhere and starts shooting you. After shooting some more baddies, we meet Mona Sachs once again, and it turns out she's been sent by Horn to kill us. But she isn't going to. Then more killer suits burst in and kill Mona. After we take them out, we find that Mona's body is gone. This brings me to the next section that really annoyed me the first time I played this. The elevator. There's a whole bunch of trip mines in the shaft as it goes up. This isn't as bad as I remember. In fact, it's pretty easy. I guess younger me just sucked. From this point, there really isn't that much else to mention. It's pretty good, I guess.
Next to the printer was a neat stack of expensive paper. Hacking through Horn's computer would have unearthed files of criminal plans, strategies for world domination, spy helicopter reports, illegal wiretap recordings, internet porno, all of the above. Take your pick. I really didn't care anymore. I had seen too much of it already.
After going through a secret door, we make it up to the roof, and so begins the final fight. And straight away, you realise that isn't a final fight at all.
Before we start, I just want to say I don't remember a single thing about this boss fight, so I'm as blind as you are.
So we're treated to an in-game cutscene where Max pursues Horn through an open gate, which she locks behind her. She then runs to a helicopter. While this is happening, 2 cords holding up the mast of the building snap.
You're meant to take out some more killer suits, then shoot the 2 remaining cords. Simple, right?
Not really, because one of the cables is locked behind a gate.
If you want to stand any chance of hitting these cables, you gotta use the sniper rifle. Wait, what was it I said earlier? I tried using the sniper rifle to take out the enemies one by one, but I can't because the sniper rifle fucking sucks. Oh yeah, terrible!
Also, the thing that keeps the cable in place is the size of a dot, which would be hard enough to hit, but the reticle shapes while you're in scope mode as well, so it's almost impossible to hit anything. There, I took out both cords, and nothing's happening. Is there something else I need to do? Oh wait, another cutscene? Oh, I got shot, so that's not what I meant to do. Huh.
Okay, so I looked it up. What you're meant to do is shoot the master once you've taken out the 2 cords. I guess the game does hint at it with one of the enemies dropping a grenade launcher, and I was just too stupid to realise, so yeah, let's get back into it.
So one unskippable cutscene later and... yeah, the guy with the grenade launcher killed me more times than I'd like to admit. But let's not dwell on that. But I finally did it! The mask goes crashing down on top of the chopper in an admittedly cool scene. And so the camera pans up the Acer Plaza one last time, as Max says one of his most iconic lines.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger. And then it was all over. The storm.
Anyway, Max is arrested, and as he's being loaded into a police car, Bowen shows up one last time to deliver on his promises.
It wouldn't be over till the man with the patch would say so. He'd say the right words. I knew he would. He'd better. Woden grinned smugly. It was the grin of a winner. That made 2 of us.
I'm very conflicted with this game. On one hand, it's got a great story, fun gameplay mechanics, and great level design. But on the other hand, the dream sequences are boring, it has terrible frame rate that at points makes the game harder, and not to mention the final area of the game being ball-bustingly difficult. Okay, I've decided. Max Payne on PS2 gets 6 out of 10. While this is a good game, this isn't the best way to play it. There's other better ways. You can get it on Steam and PS4. These versions have better frame rates and resolutions, plus, they don't suck. And while 6 out of 10 is a good score, if they'd done some things differently, it would have been an easy 7, maybe an 8 out of 10. But that's what sequels are for, so join me next time when we cover Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. I've heard good things about this, but I haven't really played that much, so join me next time, and stay tuned.